one of my personal favorites, absolutely. And in the same year, fall 1948, the same season, City Opera saw the debut of the Massachusetts-born tenor Robert Rounseville, who had an amazing career. He created the role of Tom Rakewell in the world premiere of The Rake's Progress at Teatro La Fenice in Venice, alongside Schwarzkopf and Jenny Turrell. He was Mr. Snow in the 1956 film version of Carousel. In the same year, he did the title role in the world premiere of Leonard Bernstein's Candide on Broadway opposite Barbara Cook. And in 1960, he was Nanky Poo in a Bell Telephone Hour TV abridgment of The Mikado opposite Groucho Marx. He made his City Opera debut as Peleas and later went on to sing City Opera as Don José, the Prince in Love with the Oranges, the Tanzmeister in Ariadne auf Naxos. And for about a decade, he absolutely owned the role of Hoffmann at City Opera. And of course, also very famously, he starred in the Michael Powell, Emmerich Pressburger film of The Tales of Hoffmann, made in 1951. And we are going to hear him here in a duet from Act 3 with another great City Opera singer, Ayars, who had made her debut in 1947 as Naiad and was a mainstay of the lyric soprano repertory at City Opera. And here they are in the Tales of Hoffmann film.
The song lovers learn from the hours of summer showers. Sweet the hours of summer showers. My love! Antonia! I knew within my heart a love like yours would never, never fail me. My heart has told me tears were shed for me. My heart then told me too. Your tears were shed for me. So farewell to sorrow, for yours will I be tomorrow. Fly happy hours, days to come, days to come, days to come.
Forgot to mention that Rounseville also late in his career did the world premiere of Man of La Mancha on Broadway as the Padre. So he had quite a career. And I also want to mention that in this year, 1948, we had a couple of other very distinguished visitors to City Opera. Our first Peleas et Mélisande, the female lead, was sung by Dame Maggie Tate. Which was really quite something. And her Peleas was the young American baritone Theodore Upman, who had a long career at the Met and also was the first Billy Budd. He was chosen by Benjamin Britten. In fall 1948, there was also an important debut of an American baritone who had been actually singing at the Met for quite some time and had a sort of overlapping career, as a lot of people did, between the Met and City Opera. He debuted as Germont. This is Richard Bonelli. And here's a recording of him singing Di Provenza from the Chesterfield Hour, a radio show from 1935. It's conducted by Andre Kostelanetz. And, you know, just, of course, you know, in those days, all the opera singers did cigarette commercials, and it's hilarious. Also want to mention that during that same year, the pantheon of city opera Carmens was joined by none other than Alberta Masiello. Now, many of you probably know her as a baritone. She was a great coach, of course, for many years. But she did begin as a singer. She comes from a long line of singers, and but probably most of us remember her voice from the opera quiz, and she did sound like a baritone. So in the fall of 1949, actually, I think that, did I put, yeah. Fall of 1949, the Czech-born soprano Eva Likova made her debut. She had just emigrated to the US in 1947. She made her debut as Violetta and became a mainstay of City Opera's Italian wing. After a very busy career in North America, she became a distinguished teacher at the University of Michigan and was the voice teacher of one of our later dear City Opera sopranos, Oksana Krovitska. She never sang at the Met. Listen to her and explain to me why, because I can't figure it out. She's very sparsely recorded, unfortunately, but this is actually taken from, this is the only selection in which you'll hear the voice of a non-New York City Opera singer, John Vickers, but I decided we could let him in. And this is a CBC television broadcast that they did together. This is a part of a duet from Manon Lescaut. That fall 1949 season, City Opera also welcomed two visitors from other shores. Maria Reining, who came to sing Ariadne of Naxos, the New York premiere of Ariadne of Naxos at New York City Opera, and Joan Hammond, who sang Butterfly at City Opera. Then, in the fall season of that year, 1949, another important debut of someone who didn't sing very much at City Opera, but was a very important singer, Robert McFerrin, made his debut in the premiere of Still's Troubled Island. Here he's singing a brief excerpt from Cortigiani in Rigoletto, which he sang at the Met.
Dannata, per tal prezzo vendeste il mio bene. Tutto è nulla per loro sconviene, ma mia figlia impagabil tesor. Arrendete, o sei pur disarmata, questa man per voi pur prenda, nulla in terra più buona venta, se dei figli dipende non per la porta. Assassini, assassini, aprite la porta, assassini, ma aprite.
He was the father of Bobby McFerrin, and also an honoree that we celebrated at our Schaumburg series at New York City Opera a couple of years ago. Bobby McFerrin was there. Anyway, in 1950, we had a few more distinguished visitors, Rose Bampton from the Met, and also the wonderful Bulgarian bass, Raphael Arye. I really had to restrain myself from playing a recording of his because I just love him, but there's only so much time. And anyway, the next thing that I'm going to play is, I think, quite special. In spring 1951, a very great American tenor made his debut, David Poleri. And the only reason that he's not better known is that he died quite young in a helicopter crash while he was on holiday with his wife. But he had a very big career going, and he sang quite a bit at New York City Opera. He debuted as Alfredo, and later sang Don José, Turiddu, and he was in the world premiere of The Saint of Bleecker Street on Broadway, and also sang it at New York City Opera. In 1955, he sang on the NBC Opera. He sang Cavaradossi to the first Tosca of Leontine Price, her opera debut. And here we have a recording of him singing the aria from La Forza del Destino, part of it, O tu che insegni agli angeli, which comes from, I'm proud to say, a Glyndebourne performance at Edinburgh in 1951, conducted by Fritz Busch. And here it is. There's a famous story about when he was singing Don José at City Opera once and got angry at the conductor, Josef Rosenstock, and in the final scene yelled into the pit, "Finish the opera yourself," walked off the stage and left poor Gloria Lane to kill herself. It's part of City Opera legend. Anyway, another great debut in fall 1951, the colossal American soprano Patricia Neway, who was so versatile and, of course, was a Broadway star, was the original Mother Abbess in The Sound of Music, but, and was particularly distinguished in new music, did a lot of work with Giancarlo Menotti and other contemporary composers. And here we have an excerpt from her signature role, if I may say, the role of Magda in The Consul. This is part of the aria, "To This We've Come."
We've come, that men with hope what I can do for you. Sign here.
We wait and hope it rains.
I said sign here. Papers, papers, papers. But don't you understand? What can I tell you to make you understand? My child is dead. John's mother is dying. My own life is in danger. I ask you for help, and all you give me is papers. What is your name, Madame Sorel, age 33, color of hair, color of eyes, single or married, religion and race, place of birth, father's name, mother's name, papers, secretaries, human beings like us. What is your name, Madame Sorel, age 33? What will your papers do? They cannot stop the clock. They are too thin an armor against a bullet. What is your name, Madame Sorel, age 33? What does that matter? All that matters is that the time is late, that I'm afraid and I need your help. What is your name? What is your name? What is your name? This is my answer. My name is woman. Age still young. Color of hair red. Color of eyes the color of tears. Occupation waiting, 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 waiting.
Voice, the diction, it's crystal, it's just, what an amazing artist she was. Also in that same year, a few more distinguished visitors from Europe, the French baritone Martial Seigner as Lescaut, and the Italian soprano Bonelli as Santuzza at City Opera. The next season, fall 1952, we meet Gloria Lane, the poor mezzo who was left on stage to die by her own devices by David Poleri. She was a great Carmen. That was her signature role. Also sang Neris, sang the secretary in the consul at City Opera. Here she is, this something Carmen-like a little bit. This is from El Amor Brujo, El Cancion del Amor Dolido, BBC orchestra conducted by Stokowski.